I want to say thank you to all my Patreon supporters and my Twitch subscribers. Join the Guardians, become a member, or become a subscriber on YouTube, Patreon, and help support the channel.
Previously on Crimson, I teased last that I was going to go over a video with the upcoming lecture season. That we're going to do a video where we're going to talk about a leftist telling us not to vote. And I know I saw part of it when I was watching Lonerbox streams. And this is the shit that kind of like pisses me off about some online leftists. They're fucking stupid. But let's listen to this shit and let's hope it's not just more accelerationist shit. Oh, we need to get it as bad as we can get it in order for people to be mad enough to make a revolution. Let's go. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. Let's go.
I've made efforts to separate myself from this. For a long time, I've made efforts to separate myself from the stereotypically far-left position of condemning voting. I've admitted that voting doesn't take long. It's fine to encourage somebody to vote who might not otherwise, and that generally there is a meaningful difference between the two major parties in the US and the UK.
So what fucking changed? What changed? Why are you making this video now? What changed? And quite frankly, I think it's going to be something very, very stupid to me. I think it is, because a lot of these people see shit online that hurt their feelings and they act like spoiled little children. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be tripping, but let's go.
My skepticism around voting has come from the inclination of various leftists to put their full organizational weight behind liberal candidates like Biden or Stanmer, and end up being subsumed into these parties that hate us and our beliefs and leave our own goals unpursued. Ultimately, though, I'm still arguing for a position of balance rather than...
Nobody hates you, dog. The only time political parties hate far left people is when they start making irrational ass arguments talking about, well, if you don't do 100% of what I want you to do, then you're bad, you're evil, and you're no different than the Republican Party. And I'm sorry, that's just not the case. For those of us who live in the real fucking world, we have to live with the consequences of people voting and non-voting. Now, sometimes you get a shit sandwich. Yes. Sometimes you get a half a shit sandwich. Yes. But I would rather make sure that I don't have to eat the full shit sandwich versus the half shit sandwich. But let's go.
Than outright condemnation. That being said, I believe recent developments have left this analysis obsolete, and that radicalism must now take a much more ruthless position to keep up with the changing consciousness of the wider public. The ongoing...
So Israel-Palestine. Just say Israel-Palestine. Just say that shit. Say you're upset because of Israel-Palestine. Don't try to hide it between something else. Just say that's why you're upset. Cool. If that's what you want to be upset with, fine. Cool beans. You have the right to be. But don't act like the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are the same on policy difference. You are supposed to be a policy wonk. Somebody who doesn't follow politics, somebody who doesn't pay attention to just the ins and outs of policies, you know there's a difference. One just doesn't go, the Democratic Party just doesn't go as far as you want them to go. Let's go.
Genocide in Gaza has led to a noticeable shift in attitude.
Okay. I know I'm about to get some shit from a lot of my lefty brethrens, but it's not a genocide in Gaza. It's a one-sided war, yes. And quite frankly, when you look at what's going on, is Israel getting an over response? Fuck yes. They gave an over response to what's going on, and that's what Hamas wanted. That's what happened. To say anything is other than that is for you to actually act as if it's just not a blood conflict. It's just not a war that happened on both fronts about both of them doing terrible shit to each other. This is something that has happened. Is one side completely innocent and one side completely evil? No. It's a fucking blood feud. And until leftists actually get online and actually acknowledge that, we're going to look like fools to these people. We're going to look like fools to everybody who sit back and has any type of political beliefs. Because what happened on October 7th was not fighting for independence. It was not, oh, well, they deserved it. No, it was a fucking terror attack. But let's continue.
In liberals and leftists alike across the West. We've had to watch as our political leaders march lockstep with Israel's brazen attempts to displace Palestinian people with no outlet for resistance in conventional politics. And then with the election...
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? No outlet for resistance? What the hell does that mean? Please tell me, my friend, what does that mean? Is it disproportional? Yes, I will give you that. But for you to say no outlet for resistance, dude, these are the... it upsets me that they don't even understand local politics. They don't even understand motherfucking, national politics. But they think some government, because Israel is its own government, on the other side of the world is going to listen to you bitch and moan about the way they should feel about something. That's so irritating to me.
In the US and the UK coming up this year, this is naturally leading people to question whether or not these genocide enablers even deserve our votes to begin with. And then from there, especially in the US, you've had the typical discourses of harm.
It's not... Thank you for following. It's not genocide, dog. Are they indiscriminately killing people? Are they not giving a fuck? Ask the U.S. after 9/11. Ask the U.S. after 9/11 how they felt about civilians. These holier-than-thou motherfuckers, like, really, they're just mad because their feelings are fucking hurt. Because they see the fucking, carnage and bloodshed that happens with wars. And I feel for that. But for you to say that, oh, Joe Biden needs to control Israel, are you fucking stupid? Are you fucking stupid, man? Because you know what that sounds like? It sounds like there are certain people with puppet strings. And, for the people in the back, I'm going to actually say this. And this is something that they're not going to really address because a lot of these people who are online leftists don't know their head from a hole in the wall for international politics. The U.S. will never abandon the ally that knows its secrets. That's what y'all don't realize. Fuck the whole, well, we need to keep the evangelicals happy and all the other good shit. You know why the U.S. will never abandon allies that knows how they get their secrets? It's because they don't want them giving other secrets. The U.S. will say that they're no longer allies to Israel, only to make sure that they get, defensive money that they need from other people's in NATO's. Because Israel has been privy of knowing how the U.S. gets its secrets. And until y'all understand that motherfucking international politics is not a game of good guys and bad guys, but countries with interests, you will forever lose this whole thing about, well, these are bad guys. These are bad guys. It's not some fucking Saturday morning cartoon. I'm tripping. I'm sorry.
Harm reduction and lesser evil voting spin. Today, then, I want to make the case explicitly against voting as the strongest strategy that the left currently has available.
It's not. Voting is the least civic engagement that you can do. Oh my God, and that's your problem. That's the problem with a lot of you young motherfucking leftists. You don't do shit. You don't get down there in the world. And I'm sorry, I'm tired of sounding like, oh man, get off my grass type shit. But you motherfuckers sit back and act like blocking somebody on fucking Twitter is like tantamount to making sure that they don't exist anymore. Instead of actually taking the time to convince people of your position, you say, well, if you don't think like I think, you haven't read enough theory, so you're lost to me. That is such childish behavior. The fact that most leftists online think that, hey, I'm going to call somebody a Nazi and then I won't have to argue with them anymore because I'm right and they're wrong. Instead of explaining how they're wrong, lets me know that these are children trying to hope for a better future. And the reason why most of these people don't vote is because, oh, well, I lost once and I lost once and now I feel bad because I lost once. And they want to fashion themselves revolutionaries, but complain about voting because it made them feel icky because they lost or they voted for somebody that wasn't 100% perfect. I'm stressing. I'm sorry.
Now, because my usual video production process apparently takes months or even years now, I'm slapping this together at a much lower production quality just so I can get it out while it still has some relevancy. For anyone wondering, I am also working on a much longer, much fancier video on the side, but that's still a bit off from this. I just realized my neck is purple because my floor LED is on and it's too late to turn it off. So if you're wondering, I'm not diseased, that's just why. So the key observation of the current moment is that the rejection to vote is the most effective path towards radicalization. Due to being presented a choice between different genocide enablers, a shift in attitude.
First of all, stop. Just stop. To act as if it's is no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party on a international level, you sound stupid, dog. You sound stupid. The fact that you sit back here and says, well, they're both genocide disabled. Okay. How would you fix it? Every one of these people come online and says, genocide. How would you fix it? What would you do? Because a lot of this shit that I hear, especially some of this sneaking criticism that I hear from a lot of these people who quite literally claim to be motherfucking leftists, a lot of them, in some cases, I'm sorry to say, start to sound a little anti-Semitic with the shit that they say. And I know, oh, you're just saying this. Like, no. They start saying crazy shit like, oh, well, a certain type of people control this. That's how fucking insane some of these people sound like. Wait. They literally harassed AOC just so she can say genocide. This is the shit that I'm talking about. These motherfuckers are the most virtue signaling motherfuckers there is. You get a fucking crazy fan that come up to Hassan and tell him, well, can't you just pretend like you're not drinking the pop? Like, what the fuck? How fucking crazy is that? Either you gonna motherfucking sacrifice or you don't. And these are also the same person who people who praise somebody who clearly had mental health issues that set themselves on fire. I mean, like, wow. Die, you bastard. Anyway, yeah, this shit is crazy, man. This shit is goddamn crazy. But let's go. Here. They want you to use their exact words like it's right wingers when they're going nuts because Obama would say, yeah, exactly.
Against voting has taken place for many younger liberals and leftists alike, with the previously unthinkable of not voting for anybody being taken seriously. What's special about this is that not voting is a fundamentally illogical, nonsensical position, yet despite this, people are being drawn to it anyway. This is because in a political landscape such as ours, still mired in capitalist realism, where alternatives can scarcely be imagined, let alone be made feasible, resistance can often manifest as a desire to reject society altogether. In a sense, the only response to a world in which revolution or even reform feel hopelessly out of grasp is to simply declare, I cannot imagine a new future, but I don't need one to reject the present existence anyway. The urge not to vote is one such instance of a blind resistance. The desire to escape the perpetual dilemma of lesser evilism by rejecting its premise outright. This desire is, again...
That sounds really cool when you don't have to deal with the consequences of lesser evilism. When you don't have to deal with, per se, having a maybe, I don't know. And I said this on the last video that I covered with Second Thought. They don't just naturally assume that you're not on their side. Dog, they don't. You can motherfucking take off your uniform while you LARP, even though, you know, the U.S. government has tanks and shit. But you can LARP that shit, right? You can LARP how you're going to do a revolution like it's 1920 fucking one. But let's go.
Raw, it's base, it's unrefined, it's often ill thought out, but this is exactly what defines it as a complete rejection of existing society. Because in rejecting these systems, we also reject their rules, their internal logic, and their entire framework of what makes sense. While those who subscribe to the logic of existing superstructures, our political systems and the electoral process, will insist...
So it's just about being contrarian. It's just about being contrarian. That's all it's about, being contrarian. Oh, you don't do what I want? Fuck you. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to fucking burn the system down along with you. And if somebody gets in that's worse, you should have learned your lesson. That is literally being contrarian. That is literally being contrarian. What the hell, man? You are literally saying, you're not doing what I want, so I'm going to make sure I hurt you. And for so many people that, quote unquote, that are so focused on abuse, damn, that sounds like a little abusive, don't you think? Did I just die? Yeah, I just died. That sounds pretty abusive, don't you think? But let's continue.
On how simple and just voting is, that can't change the fact that the desire not to vote is a seed by which a radical desire to change society can grow. Once this rejection bursts to the surface, an incredibly...
Wait, they just literally said this is about motherfucking accelerationism. Well, when you don't vote, then a radical seed can actually happen. You are literally talking about accelerationism. You are literally saying make shit worse so people get mad enough for a revolution. That's got to be the dumbest shit that I fucking heard. That sounds like somebody who can motherfucking take off their uniform and think that, oh, it's going to be okay because it's going to get bad, but it's not going to get really bad. And then if it gets really bad, we can always have our revolution. Some kind of way. Because reasons. Because reasons. Any lefty that chooses not to vote should be forced to explain to the LGBTQ plus and minorities why their rights were sacrificed for morale and virtue signaling points. Amen.
Effective path to radicalize these people is to take those base feelings and turn them into a cohesive political worldview. This plays on the same dynamic we saw in 2020 over abolishing the police. And at the time, immediately intuitive idea that cleared the way to radical thinking, yet also made no sense.
You know what? Here's the thing. You are never going to get rid of the need for policing. I understand that it started off as slave patrols. Fucking get it. I think something in my skin condition lets me know that. But even if you make a communist utopian society, there are going to be some people that are just fucked up. Capitalism is when some people are evil. No, there are people that existed in a system where they were just evil and cruel before capitalism came along. You're going to need peacekeepers. You're going to need people that solve crimes. You're going to need motherfucking people that protect shit. This is something that you're going to need. And for you to act as if, no, it's not that. These people are, they're just, what? Gonna disappear? Do you think these people are just gonna disappear? And that's the problem. That's why so many people actually had an issue with that. Because I live in a neighborhood where, yeah, fuck the police. But sometimes you need the motherfuckers to come. And for you to act like, oh, no, it's just, they're just over policing. You're right. There are some people that learn more criminal shit because they lived in situations where poverty was a thing. But there are also people that want to fucking hurt people. There's also people that deal with just spontaneous mental health issues that, hey, they're not evil. They're not normally like this, but something happened to push them over the edge. That shit happens. And I'm tired of these people act like, no, it doesn't. No, it's just capitalism. But let's continue.
Within the framework of existing society. And today, this type of demand takes the form of something far simpler, of not having to support genocide. What threatens this budding radicalism is that it must immediately clash against the facts and logic of existing society, which demands that these alternatives are born fully formed.
See, this is the reason why I just don't listen to these motherfuckers. Because a lot of these people were just looking for reasons to not like Biden. And I'm not saying that he's a great president, but I would take him over another term of Trump. Want to know why? One, the motherfucker actually re-empowered the EPA. He actually is trying to work to get rid of the fucking Trump tax cuts that made sure that if you don't make a certain amount of money, your fucking taxes go up every 2 fucking years. And oh yeah, the motherfucker who, because he lost an election, tried to overthrow the government. Y'all people don't realize how close we were to being in a fucked up situation. Y'all don't get that shit. Y'all sit back and think, oh no, it wouldn't have never happened. Yeah, that's what they said about a lot of different places. But no, because you think, they're just fear-mongering. I don't think you know what fear-mongering is. I don't think that's what that means. When somebody is provably going to do some shit that's going to fuck you over. That's not fear-mongering. Definitely not fear-mongering. But let's go. Whatever they describe as alternative to cops either sounds like mob rule or by a different name or cops by a different name. Of course. Of course.
And able to meet standards which they're trying to move past to begin with. If we don't vote for the Democrats, how will we beat the Republicans? If we don't have the police, how will we prevent crime? It's the job of superstructures like the media and the political system to forcibly drag these intuitive desires down into the mud of policy and electoral pragmatism, where they lose any radical potential. This was the fate of abolishing the police the moment it became defund the police, which, ironically enough, in trading in its radical content to be more appealing to conventional politics, did a far worse job at grasping anybody as a position than abolition ever did.
So you're telling me, you're fucking telling me that the messaging that most people didn't like sounded even worse when you're literally are talking about, okay, yeah, we're going to defund the police. And it actually did something worse. So maybe it's not the stupid plebs that's not understanding radicalism. Maybe it's your understanding of what it actually means and what people would actually vote for. That's like you coming in and telling people, hey, you know what? We're not going to pay you any more for work. No more. Isn't that great? You won't have any bills anymore because you're not going to get paid. I'm telling you, their messaging is just shit. And they don't want to take the time to explain themselves. But let's continue.
Voting is especially vulnerable to this because its radical content consists of simply not engaging with a system at all, with no immediately obvious alternate mode of activity. Of course, in reality, no longer allowing ourselves to be tied up in the spectacle of electoral politics frees us up to do all sorts of things, but this won't be immediately obvious to most people who begin to question the basis of voting.
One day. It takes you one fucking day to vote. One day. And that's not what the problem is. The problem is you don't want your vote tied to a bad choice because a perfect choice is what you deserve with your vote. No, the fuck it isn't. Grow the fuck up and learn how to deal with real world shit. This is the reason why there are no politicians for the far left, because they don't want to fucking negotiate. You know what they want to do? Stomp their feet and be all butthurt because I'm not getting everything I want my way. They sit back and talk about, oh, Bernie would have hit a second term and it would have been wonderful. With what Congress? They sit back and say, see, all the people who said Bernie was too old are motherfucker, these are the same people that are talking about Joe Biden is too old. As long as you have your fantasy and you said he can't live up to your fantasy, it frees you up from not doing shit. It's the same shit that I see from motherfucking evangelical Christians who say, oh, no, you know what? I believe, so I don't have to do anything. It has no cost to you. You are running leftism as a religion because it has no cost to you. The only cost it has is to your social motherfucking political clubs, where if you feel like somebody feels like you do the wrong fucking minute thing, then you're ostracized. And no, I'm not just talking about having horse porn on stream. You call somebody the wrong word? Oh my God. But yet motherfuckers can get away with having spent $100,000 and promote bathtub HRT. Oh, that's fine because they're like me. This is craziness. This is craziness. Because you can sit back and deal with it. You can sit back and say, oh, well, you know, I got mine. You have to get yours. I can't take off my uniform, dog. I can't magically put myself in a better economic situation, even if I can take off my uniform. Because, yeah, here's the thing. Fun fact. There are black people that are in the middle class and upper middle class that act just the same way. For you people who sit back and say, oh, no, this is just white people. No, these are motherfucking suburban people. These are people that don't have to deal with the consequences of living below or right at the poverty line. These are people that say, when you say fuck the police and disabolish the police, because they were mad because some cop stopped them. They were speeding down the highway. I lived among these motherfuckers for 10 years in the suburbs when I was an adult, and I saw the way they fucking acted. They act, all these motherfuckers, suburban motherfuckers, act pretty much the same way. But let's go. Let's go.
And they'll be continually beat over the head with the idea that it just takes a day to vote. We can postulate about various forms of direct action, trade, and activism in general we can get involved with instead of party politics. It is unequivocal that the most...
You live in a democracy. And even if, you know, they were talking about England, people still have the right to vote. As much as I fucking think conservatives are dumb shit, are dumb dog shit motherfuckers sometimes. And, you know, I'm just making a blanket example. I would not want to take away their right to vote. My job is to convince them to believe in what I believe, to make sure that they want to be on my side, to make sure that they want to make that other people should just live their lives if it's not hurting anybody else, that they deserve a living wage as well. That's why you vote, because other people can vote too. And again, it's one day. You can build your community networks. You can, it's you know, the community networks that you build are called? They're called neighbors. Shocking, I know. You can do shit in real life instead of having anxiety about calling somebody over the phone to order a pizza. God damn. It's just, this is just unbelievable to me. They talk about it as if they're just, it's, if you vote, you can't do anything else. Man, I mean, like, God damn. And you know what? Here's the thing. We have a representative government, no matter how oligarchical you want it to seem, and it is, and how much that they really don't listen to us. But you know what? You have to play the game politic. That is a thing that it was happening prior to motherfucking capitalism. It's going to happen after capitalism. It happened in the Soviet Union. The same shit that most of you motherfucking tankies stick up for. You have to play politics. You just can't get everything you want, you special ass snowflake that your mama complained about. Why didn't my kid get a trophy? And before you think that I'm saying that about just leftists, no, motherfuckers, you conservatives think that shit too. That's why it became prevalent. Because kids didn't get a participation trophy because they wanted one. No, their parents says, I spent my money. My kid's gonna get a trophy. I'm sorry. It's just like this. This shit pisses me off because you supposed to be a leftist. You know this shit. Your feelings are hurt because you see some shit on TV that is remarkably, unbelievably should not be on TV, showing the devastation that happens in war. It is fucking devastating. It is goddamn devastating. There is no reason why, let's just say it. In peace times, sons bury their fathers. In war times, fathers bury their sons. It should not happen. But for you motherfuckers to act as if the world revolves around your hurt feelings based on, I don't know, because you see some shit on TV, because that's the highest rating, you're falling for the fucking capitalist news media trap. Your feelings are hurt. And rightly so. No one should actually sit back and motherfucking have to watch that, let alone experience that shit. But for you to act as if, one, politicians in your own country listen to you about you throwing a tantrum, to think that would even interfere with any type of sleep that another politician in his own sovereign country is going to be like. Who's thinking about American exceptionalism now? Fuck. It makes me angry because instead of actively using their power to motherfucking get groups together and actively using their power, like the last time we saw this shit was like a few years ago. People organized fundraisers, people organized get out the vote. No, what they're doing now is bitching and moaning to Biden, talking about you stop this. I have not seen one goddamn fundraiser yet from any major leftist streamer since they care so much. This has just been a rag on, yeah, let's talk about how bad Israel is. And it's fucking telling. You just want to be mad. Let's go.
Impact that anybody in the West can have on the Gaza genocide is trying to prevent shipments from reaching Israel, as has already been done in the form of strikes and direct action. But what has decisively changed about the—
There weren't strikes! Oh my God, and stop! Stop with this bullshit! The fucking Houthis are pirates, dog. They're pirates. These are motherfucking pirates. They're not freedom fighters. They're not, magic motherfucking. They're not the motherfucking the Jolly Rogers. They're pirates. That's what they are. That's what they're trying to do. They are winning a civil war in a country, and they're trying to flex their power. They're not pirates. Do not add any more moral weight onto them than what it actually is. They're fucking pirates. And then they're not even effective pirates because the ships that they attack weren't going to Israel. This is the bullshit that I'm talking about. They don't even understand international shipping and how that affects everybody. It's just so they can get a moral point.
This analysis is that we're no longer trying to propose just a better way to organize. The focus is now on an amplified potential for radicalization. However, the crucial element of this particular shift in the political moment is that it tears open a deep schism in the current left. The position, at least in theory, for the harm reduction left was that we could support lesser evil candidates while at the same time building a radical movement of our own. The situation at hand undoes this excuse, though.
It's the fact that they call them lesser evil. It's the fact that they call them lesser evil. That's the part that shows how fucking immature that you are. Oh, lesser evil, lesser evil. You sound so immature with that. Lesser evil, lesser evil. Do they have policies I can support based on what the choices I have now? Do they? They do? Then shut the fuck up, support the policies, and play the game politic to put your candidates that you want up there. For anybody that's complaining that Joe Biden is too old or too evil or too whatever, what candidate did you put up back in 2004? What candidate did you put up in 2008? What candidate did you put up in 2012? You just can't come along and say, hey, I want to be president, and think you're going to get elected in the USA. And don't give me that bullshit that Trump only ran once and won that first time. No, the fuck he didn't. If you believe that mythos, you're just dumb as any one of the other people that you think are stupid. Trump ran at least 3 times before he became president. But let's continue.
Because now the two goals are explicitly opposed. The task of a left concerned with winning elections is now to squash this sense of anti-electoralism and any radicalism that comes with it. The line of electoral leftists today is to play our society's superstructures, to correct these raw desires to escape the present moment back into current society, into lesser evilism. To be explicit, it is to play the role of the reactionary. As such, any leftist who has invested in the short-term opportunism of electoralism now has a choice to make. To either shift focus to where radical potential really exists, or to forsake radicalism and fully submit oneself to their role as the left of bourgeois society.
See, all of these people come up with the same type of critique. They make shit bad that everybody revolts. That's all they come up with. They come up with things have to be so bad that people just get up and revolt. And I will tell you this, like I said in the last Second Thought video, people will go through a lot of shit until you are personally threatening them. Why do you think that the bad shit that was going on in the Soviet Union lasted as long as it did? These people are delusional. Because it's not even that they're delusional. It's that their feelings are hurt and they want everything their way and they don't want to play the game of politics or negotiating because they need to have everything their way like it's fucking Burger King. Instead of taking steps to protect people, instead of taking steps to make sure that, hey, it may not be 100%, shit, it may not even be 50%, but it's moving us in the direction that we need to move in. So what's the next step? You can't just win and stop fighting. That's not how this world works, but that's how so many of these people think. But let's go.
Meanwhile, the task of a left concerned with building radicalism is to explicitly encourage the feeling to reject voting and nurture it into an established political worldview. Let's be clear quickly, though, there isn't some principled stance here against the act of voting itself, like is often found among, for instance, anarchists. The physical act of casting a ballot literally does not matter, so if you feel more comfortable voting anyway, then please, go nuts.
Voting matters. If it didn't, you wouldn't tell people not to do it. Oh my God, this is the dumbest shit that I've heard. Voting doesn't matter, so you shouldn't do it. Then why are you telling people not to vote? You're telling people not to vote because you want to make it seem like you're making a stance against something. Okay, let's go.
The key is allowing and encouraging people to explore the idea of not voting and how we might engage in politics otherwise, such that we open the way to new forms of thinking. Now, the obvious objection from here is that
what is that going to give you by opening up the doors of letting people think about not voting? Here's a news flash. Voting turnout in the U.S. isn't over 50%, and it hasn't been for a long time. So people are already doing it. Dumbass. Here, let me just take a look. Damn, I've been muted. So we saw that the highest turnout of 66% over the last couple of years. We saw that shit. Dude, I get it. You don't want to feel like a loser. You don't. And to be honest with you, those of us who went through the 2000 election, my first election that I got to vote in, kind of understand that shit. But sometimes you win elections and sometimes you lose them. If you have principles other than just, I need to feel right, then you keep going. But let's continue.
This is done at the risk of letting Trump win. And there is no way around this. But what has failed to be grasped is that this is simultaneously the strongest strategy in fighting Trump and far-right populism in general. Now, let's be clear.
How is letting Trump win and fight it is the strongest strategy to fighting him? How is that? Wait, what? Wait, what? I'm gonna need a source.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Clear, this isn't an accelerationist position. The goal is not to make Trump win, and the idea is not that his winning would improve anything. Rather, it's recognizing that lesser evil voting is a pathetically ineffective strategy at fighting the far right. And I would go as far to say that anybody who...
But you are literally letting him win to make it bad. That's accelerationism. Not water. Just not water. Just not water. Just because I say this shit doesn't mean it's not fucking... Oh God.
dedicates themselves to it at the expense of everything else is more responsible for Trump than anyone who would forgo voting for the sake of building radicalism. Even without looking at history, this should be self-evident by the fact that Biden was voted in as a safe, middle-of-the-road establishment candidate just to get Trump out, and now a single term later is running the risk of losing to Trump again. Consider as well that...
And where were you leftists pushing? Instead of just ragging on Biden, where were you leftists pushing to say that we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do that? Last time I checked, the shit came from the centrists. Sean Fang, a fucking centrist, was trying to push for a motherfucking 32-hour work week. Last time I checked, the people that were pushing for Starbucks, they were fucking centrists. They were just people that were just tired of their working conditions. Last time I checked, Joe Biden with his National Labor Relations Board was pushing for more unionization. Where were you people at? Oh, you're at the DSA meeting complaining about how you shouldn't clap because it was too loud. You're online talking about how falling into the trap of talking about how this and that person is a pedo. You're online making fun of people's names, like saying Ben Shapiro's name was like speaking about Voldemort. That's what you guys were doing. Were you pushing candidates? Were you pushing motherfucking House of Republican House of Representative candidates? Were you pushing senators? Were you doing that? No, you were bitching online about how this and that was slightly offensive instead of doing the goddamn work of making sure you can play the game body politic and building networks. I'm not talking about just Discord networks where, you know, people just, hey, you're on my Discord, let me date you. No, that's what you guys were doing. You got safe. And then you thought, oh, this bad thing happened. Now I'm upset.
The whole time Biden's been in, Republican states such as Florida have only spiraled further into quasi-fascism at a seemingly faster rate than ever.
Right, the president is king of every state. I'm going to need you motherfuckers to learn civics lessons. I need you to understand that because I don't think you guys understand. A president is not a king. The shit that y'all complain about Donald Trump wanting to do, he wants to be king. I'm going to need you to understand that a president is not king. But you guys don't understand that shit. But let's go.
Pushing all weight behind Biden again does not make Trump and the far right go away. Rather, it allows them to fester for another term and then come back the next election cycle even stronger. And so, if you remain tied to lesser evil voting out of...
So what you do in that cycle is fucking metaphorically and politically kick their shit in. You attack every point that they talk about. You go to their motherfucking inside of their motherfucking discourse. You go inside of their motherfucking, debate streams. You let them call you ignorant, stupid fucking names, but you make your point. The problem is your feelings are so precious about being heard. You don't want to do the fucking work it takes to convince these people. There was a debate on using the R slur. Now, I don't use it because I do know people who have actually been hurt by that. But there was a debate over it, whether to ban streamers over it in the online left. Not the platform holders, but the groups and the cliques. There is seriously a debate going around whether or not that if I'm offended about something that you did after the relationship, is that really assault? How fucking childish are these people? Again, go work in a job where somebody says some shit that rubs you the wrong way, but it's not necessarily enough that you can take it to HR, but you can't block them in real fucking life. Go have to really deal with your social battery, having to be, expired because, you work a fucking 8-hour shift and it takes you between 7 and 6 the same day to get home. Let's see how your social battery works then. Fuck out of here.
The belief that anything else is simply impossible, it is your duty to be rushing to make it possible when the material conditions provide an opportunity like the one presented to us right now. All that's being done instead is propping up a liberalism which fascism feeds off of, and so eventually they will win if this is all we can do. If it's not over Gaza today, it'll be over something else tomorrow. And when they inevitably do win, don't you think it would be important to have a pre-existing...
So you just think that the fascists are going to automatically win? Then give up your fucking platform. Go sit your ass down somewhere. Go hide in the fucking forest. You fucking doomer ass motherfucker. If that's what you think, shut the fuck up and go. I fight as if I will win. I fight as if I will crush my enemies, see them driven before me, and hear the lamentation of their women. That's why I fight. If you don't have that fight in you, if you're not fighting to protect somebody other than your fucking ego and your motherfucking sense of entitlement to an idea, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. But let's go.
Group of radicals that are able to actually kick into action and help those who are going to suffer the most under this far-right government. Even today, the margin...
Don't let it be a far-right government. You have the tools. It's called voting and convincing people. Why do you act as if you don't have those tools? If you don't think you can convince people, if you don't think what you're saying is right without just telling somebody, go read theory, then shut the fuck up.
Marginalized living under Republican states are far more likely to be aided by local groups of communists than anybody else. And again, even today, the only way to effectively help Gaza is to try and prevent shipments from reaching Israel. Like I said, this is...
How? How? Just how? Explain how. Explain how. Besides pirates. Explain how.
Already being attempted, but it hasn't been strong enough to deliver results just yet. Efforts so far are being easily co-opted and pacified by career activists. But imagine what could be done if, instead of supporting the Dems and arguing over whether or not we're obligated to vote for them, we poured our energy into these forms of resistance instead. Even from an electoralist perspective, there's value in rejecting voting today for the sake of pushing people left, to increase the possibility in the future of a left populist candidate becoming viable who could actually maintain a victory over the far right.
And again, this keeps going back to, we need the one person to be our savior. We're waiting for Superman. It is not just one person. In the U.S., the House of Representatives has 135 people. The Senate, 100. That's where the laws get made, dog. Fuck. All right, let's go.
Candidates don't just materialize out of thin air after you've waited long enough. They grow out of the pre-existing political landscape. And they're far more likely to gain traction under one full of people so radical they wouldn't even entertain the notion of voting for a genocide enabler. One might suggest that...
Oh my God, these people are fucking angry at me. I don't get it. I just don't understand The whole idea of we need to make sure that that we seem pure and like no genocide enabler. And last time I checked, the U.S. didn't have boots on the ground. It is a country that has its sovereign position. No matter how wrong it is, they sovereignly have their own position. And for you to act as if the U.S. is some puppet master that can just tell another country, fuck you, do what we want, at a drop of a hat, then who's making shit up?
That we might not be able to build a radical movement strong or large enough to actually affect the difference needed here, be it in direct action or in pushing for a Bernie 2028 run. But if this is the case...
Stop! Just stop! This is the bullshit that I'm talking about. If Bernie gets elected to be president, what Congress will he have behind him? This is just delusional shit. Letting me know that this is just fucking delusional shit. And that's all this shit is. That's all this shit is. It's just delusional shit. People like this they have no sense of what is possible. And I don't mean like piecemeal shit. No, they just literally have magical thinking. And I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it. Yeah, they hate us being Team America World Police until they want to complain us not being World Police to Israel. Of course. Because it's about their feelings. And I get it. They're morally hurt. I get it. I get they're hurt about the situation. Again, nobody should have to see that shit on TV. Nobody should have to live through that shit. But after you deal with your emotional problems and deal with your emotional distress, make it useful. Right now, they're just doing impotent rage. That's all they're doing. Just impotent rage. That's it. I'm sorry to say. Nothing about me is impotent. But anyway. Thanks for watching this video. I'm going to cut this segment up. And yeah. You're going to see it soon.
Thank you for watching this video. And the next one should be popping up on your screen. Subscribe, and if you haven't checked it out and want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon. Thanks.